host Dwannbrown, and we are here to talk to you live. Come on in the chat room. Come on in the chat room. Welcome all from YouTube. Ain't nobody on Facebook because Facebook done put me back in Facebook jail, and they didn't even give me a reason.
Damn, no bond money.
No bond money. So yeah, I'm back in Facebook jail. So in the meantime, we're gonna be here on YouTube. Share it, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Go to hotepish.com, hotepish.com. We got our t-shirts available. Before I bring in my guests, I'm going to show you a few of the shirts. Hold on, what happened? Damn it, I just messed up my whole little scene. Man, I just messed up my whole Scruncho. I got to go back and do it. I had the damn lock off. I'll go back to it. Anyway, we here. I'm going to show you all a few of the shirts that we got here. Go to hotepish.com. Look at what we got here. My new shirt. Hotepish.com. Pick it up. Fuller, Clark, Welsing, Van Sertima, and Ben Yakinen. 5 monumental black people who have worked tirelessly to change our minds and to put us in the right mind frame. Neely Fuller taught us what racism is, how to codify it, and the counter-racist code. Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, she took it further and wrote the ISIS papers and showed us, what it is psychologically and how to defeat it. We all know, to me, Dr. John Henry Clark, the greatest of all, because when you read his information, he not only tells you what the problem is, he gives you the solution. What up in the chat room? Thanks for coming on in here, whatever, bruh, in the chat room. Ivan Van Sertima, he taught us that they came before Columbus and we was here first. And then Dr. Ben gave us, he taught us who the real Jews were, and he taught us who Africa, the Nile, and that whole civilization. So get your shirt with your black scholars on it. Fuller, Clark, Welsing, Van Sertima, Ben Yakinen. Pick it up from the website, from the store. Also, like the shirt I have on here right here, Hotep-ish, get these t-shirts and get them at the store. Look at her. She got the big. Don't that shirt look pretty on her? Buy the shirt. Anyway, here I'd like to welcome my special guest. What's up, Malcolm? How you doing today?
Man, I'm good. How are you, bro?
Man, I'm chilling, dog. I am chilling over here, readjusting my stuff over here because stuff wasn't the way it's supposed to be. All right, we good, man. So I got my special guest here, Mr. Malcolm Hall, Mr. Cheap Not Broke.
You know it, cheap not broke.
Tell them what you got going on with you right now, Malcolm, before we get going.
Oh man, right now, besides cheap not broke, that's my brand. YouTube, I teach you how to save money. Go to YouTube, cheapnotbroke.com. Learn how to save some money, keep your coins during COVID-19. And then I have my company, StressMoneyLess.com. I teach you credit management, credit education, how to budget, and how to live stress-free and save more money.
How to live stress-free to save more money. That's what Malcolm Hall does. He teaches y'all that financial shit. Well, anyway, let's get on into it because we're gonna be talking some shit today. Oh yeah, another business on Friday. Say tune back in Friday. Not Friday, Saturday at 11 a.m. Pacific time, 2 p.m. East Coast time. We're gonna be getting in talking about Aboriginal American history, and we're gonna be talking on Saturday. Anyway, let's get into this shit, man. John Lewis was laid to rest today.
God bless him.
Yeah, God bless John Lewis. You know what I mean? He lived a life, from everybody, from what I know about him, everyone says he was a good dude that met him. We had Dr. Randy Short that was on here last week, and he talked about personal stories from John Lewis and how John Lewis was a nice guy. But at the end of the day, he didn't do shit for black people. And I talked about this last week, Malcolm. I don't know if you heard that show, but I do want to get your thoughts a little bit. Black people, we celebrate the wrong people. We don't be really celebrating the ones that did right by us. We kind of celebrate the ones that the white folks said we should celebrate. Right. Oh, and also Rip Malik B from the Roots. You right about that. Thank you, DJ Isolated up in tuning in from Periscope. You right about that. But what are your thoughts about John Lewis?
John Lewis, well, like I said, he was part of the civil rights movement and whatnot. But like you said, celebrating the wrong people. You don't see a picture of Malcolm X up unless you at a black person house. You will never see a picture of Malcolm X in public. And Malcolm X was about that action. And where's his monument? Where is his day? You don't even get a half day for Malcolm X Day. We should at least get off at 2. So I mean, if you're not gonna let us off Martin Luther King, we get all day. Malcolm X Day let us off by 2. So, and I think Malcolm X did a lot for us. Marcus Garvey did a lot for us. He doesn't get a day. And Marcus Garvey really pushed stuff along because he was about economics.
Yeah.
So he wasn't all about speeches. He was about the numbers and the money. And he got it done. He started this, he had the steamboat company. And how'd they get rid of him? Off some fraud off the post office. So it was some trash, but he was really making stuff happen. And those people not celebrated. George Washington Carver, not celebrated. There's a ton of black inventors we don't celebrate. So I think, like you said, if white America doesn't approve it, it's not celebrated. So like Obama, he's celebrated, but named a policy that changed black people. I mean, I saw more black people gunned down on Obama than I ever seen before. So,
and they gave John Lewis a whole week-long funeral too. They took him across that bridge in Selma one last time.
Yep.
Except for this time you didn't get your ass whooped.
No dogs.
And then to make it even worse, like DJ Isolated said it in the Periscope, we walk with King. That's how they be fooling us. People walk with King. Wait, C.T. Vivian died the same day. He organized the whole damn thing. And then it said a damn thing about his death.
Right.
And so you had John Lewis that was laid to rest. Let's talk about a little bit about the funeral today. Like you had President Obama that was there, and President Obama used the funeral to tell black folks that's why we need to vote. My question to you, President Obama, is this: what did the citizens of metropolitan Atlanta gain from voting for John Lewis? Where did he bring them? What policy? What money did he give them?
Policy, exactly.
He gave them speeches and fell on the sword for immigrants and everybody else.
Yeah, man. Speeches are nice, but when you go back and look at industries and the lobbying that they do to get things done, like let's take the student loans for example. You can't get rid of them. If you have student loans and you decide not to pay them, you can't get rid of them in bankruptcy. They're there till death. So house you can get rid of, car you can get rid of, any other debt you can get rid of through bankruptcy. Student loans, they're stuck there. They lobbied. They got policy pushed for them in their favor. So black people, when I ask for black people, well, damn, what policy have we had pushed in our favor that benefits us and only us? Because civil rights, that benefited everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like white women elderly people got wheelchair ramps from civil rights.
Not just elderly, all handicapped people. Everybody
got, exactly. And I can't get a sticker or park up front still to this day. But my people fought for you.
So yeah, we had him die. Then Bush, I'm not Bush, Clinton, they all the same, goddammit. Clinton dumbass get up there today at John Lewis's funeral, and he basically breaks it down. He tells the truth. It pissed a lot of people, but it is the truth. He talked about the difference between John Lewis and Stokely Carmichael. Clinton got in and saying that basically most black people was listening to Stokely, and Stokely was about full freedom. It was about us being an independent nation. People were listening to that, but ultimately people started listening. John Lewis won out. Let me make this clear to people who heard that. John Lewis didn't win out. The ideology that John Lewis got paid to push after that ass whooping when he got in Congress won out. And it did. Because as we see after the civil rights movement, we saw for the most part black people going along to get along. They kind of forgot about Stokely. They forgot about Bunchy Carmichael. They forgot about Bunchy Carter and Fred Hampton and Malcolm X and everybody else. And the John Lewis, for the most part, that ideology did win out. But at what cost? How far behind the eight ball did we as a black society get put for the John Lewis ideology to win out? What are your thoughts on that, Malcolm?
Well, like Martin Luther King was pushing integration, and segregation was going to cost the government a hell of a lot more money. It would, like, to keep everything separate, more taxes, because you got white school, black school. You don't have to. We're going to want equal, like for dollar. Like, you can tell me equal in theory, but if your school is getting $1 million a year, I want my school to get $1 million a year. If your neighborhood's paying 10% property taxes, I want to pay 10% property tax. And they know eventually back what's going to happen with black people. So, when what John Lewis was saying, like, white people won out, but we still got dog. Either way, I would have preferred segregation, because when we integrated with those people, they treated us so bad. You saw when those black girls were going up to those schools how they got treated. We could have got our own school and kept our own school, but they didn't want to fund it. But I always ask myself now, we pay taxes just like everybody else does. When we go for reparations, what about the taxes? We pay for the same services as everybody else, but we don't get the same thing. If I order a Whopper and fries, you get a burger and fries. I shouldn't just get no burger. But that's how it is under the law. That's basically what it is when we pay taxes. And I know, like, as a black person, I definitely feel like when I pay my tax dollars, I'm not protected by the police. I'm not protected by, I don't get the same service at the hospital. I don't get anything. But when integration happened, that's what caused all that, because the government now said, well, we'll put them in the same system. We're just going to put them at the bottom.
Yeah, that was one of the worst things that happened to us was the integration, because we had all of our stuff together, and the whole integration thing fucked everything up and pushed us out of our own economy. And
they would have had to pay. The government was going to have to give us money.
And period. That's why I like go back to my show last week. You guys listened to my breakdown of Ice Cube's Plan for Black America, where he talks about that, about how America did these things and did them on purpose, and how that should be part of our reparations restitution package. And so, yeah, let's go on. Like, and also another coon that died today, Herman Cain,
messing with Trump, no mask.
And here's the thing, no man. He was talking about no man. Here's the thing that threw me off about Herman Cain. First of all, shout out to Herman Cain, rest in peace. He cooned till death, but I will say this: Herman Cain is somebody that does need to be studied, because he was a very successful entrepreneur. He was and his business mindset is something that we all need to, that I appreciate. It's something that we all need to look at. His political mindset, he made a lot of money, so I get him being a Republican. You know what I mean? You made all that money, I get it. Don't either party fuck with us. So if you make a lot of money, I'm not mad at you being a Republican. But he kind of made a fool of himself when he ran for the presidency a couple years ago. Remember that?
I did, and he just popped up out of nowhere. Who is this dude?
He on like Godfather's Pizza or something. Herman Cain looked like everybody's usher at church.
Oh, hold up, time out. Before you talk about that, we gotta talk about Godfather's Pizza and how bad that stuff is. That shit is nasty.
Oh, see this? Go ahead.
When you take pizza to a kid's party and the kids don't eat it, that pizza nasty.
God damn. So it was that bad?
It was that bad. And Godfather Pizza's down there with CC's Little Caesars.
Ooh, it's there?
Hey, man, listen. I'm telling you, when the crust break down the dust, it's so tough. When you're breaking your weed down, that's how the crust do when you get to it.
So Herman Cain made his money off selling crusty-ass pizza.
Cheap-ass pizza. When the last time you heard of Godfather's Pizza?
I ain't never heard of it.
Exactly.
But here's Herman Cain, man. Every time I saw Herman Cain, he reminded me of all the elders that I saw at church. I don't know if you see him on screen right here, right now, Malcolm. But Herman Cain looked like he can give one hell of a devotional prayer, don't he?
He do. Herman Cain looked like he passed a collection plate around. Let's just pass it around one more time just to see if we got anything. Herman Cain looked like one of them pastors that have a pastor anniversary every 3 months.
Hey, hold on, Pastor. Wasn't your anniversary in June? We in August.
We're gonna do it once a quarter. We figure we do it once a quarter instead of once a year.
Herman Cain, he looked like he'd been raising money for a baptismal pool for 20 years and still ain't got the baptismal pool in his church.
Hey, I know for a fact Herman Cain wear Brute cologne.
Hey, but Herman Cain looked like the kind of brother that drive a Cadillac and then put his suit jacket on a hanger in the back seat before he drive off from church.
With some mud flaps on.
And them curb finders. Yeah, man. Herman Cain. So it's been a lot going on with that, man. And here's what I don't like about what people are doing. They're blaming him not wearing the mask on him catching the COVID. Look, we've already talked about that. A mask, unless you're wearing an N95 mask, and even the N95 mask can't really do it all the way. But they're not even allowing people to wear N95 masks on the streets because they said the hospitals need them. So the shit that we wearing on the street is basically a condom with a dick hole in it. That's what we wearing. We wearing chicken wire. So who's to say when he got it, how he got it, if it was from him wearing a mask, not from wearing a mask? I see all the people over here talking about something, it's because he wasn't wearing a mask. That's why he dead. If you don't sit your clown ass down, you don't know, nigga.
Herman Cain looked like he eat a lot of fried chicken. I don't know.
Look, Herman Cain beat cancer a few years ago. And so maybe that's what it was. Herman Cain do like he eat a lot of fried chicken. He like the kind of person that just like, go ahead, sister, leave me the flats. You don't eat shit else. Just give me the flats. And if you eat this flat, I'm going to slap the shit out your ass.
He the kind of cat that eat all the skin off the baked chicken.
Man, Herman Cain look like he can cook some fried fish like a motherfucker, though. He like, don't fuck with his fried fish.
Herman Cain look like he'll slap you if you eat his fried okra.
Slap the dog shit out of you if you eat his fried okra.
But I know he had a couple of his celebratory moments at Golden Corral. He just looked like he was with his family there.
Oh, man. So, shouts out to Herman Cain. Rest in peace.
And he was 74.
He was 74.
He was 74. He was 74.
And that's the thing. Most of the people dying from the COVID, they're old. Like, you don't get me wrong. The shit is real. The disease is real. People are getting it. But the ones that's dying are the old ones, are the ones who aren't, they ain't got their immunity built up. And so, shit, that's why I'm over here going, you see how big am I? I'm on a goddamn cleanse right now because of this COVID shit.
What you got going for your cleanse?
Man, I'm doing a raw vegan cleanse for 3 weeks. Today is the end of the 12th day that I've been doing this shit.
Shouts out to that. That is just carrots and dip. Nothing else.
I can't even eat chips, dog, because it's raw. Because chips have been baked before.
It's a tough diet, especially at night.
The cool thing that's been helping me out is I've been doing my green drinks. These motherfuckers right here. You put a whole bunch of greens and some fruit in that. You nourished. So you're not really that hungry. Then I'm changing some shit up. You know what I mean? I was a little bit too puffy. I like being a big dude. I don't want to be no little skinny nigga. But it was a little bit too big. It was a little bit too big.
Right. Hey, but I think speaking of that, in black people, we got healthcare is important for us because we do not get the best healthcare when we go in.
No.
I always read about like black women not getting treated the best when they have babies and things like that. And if you're not a healthcare expert or have a friend to ask, you don't know what you're getting. You're relying on these people to take care of you. So, like I say, the one's doing right now, you got to do that preventative maintenance. You got to change that air filter on your car. You got to eat some vegetables for your body.
Yeah. I got it from a herbalist. I'm not going to shout his name out because he didn't pay me shit to shout it out. And hell, shit took forever to goddamn come. But but at the same time, it's a good cleanse. It's a men's cleanse. And so I recommend people do that. You know what I mean? And thank you, King Harvey, in YouTube, in the chat room. King Harvey said ginger, kale, raw fruits. You're right about that. I got my wife making me some ginger tea right now. When this shit's over with, I'm about to go drink that ginger tea.
I eat raw ginger every morning, and that stuff is the truth.
I just got some monatomic gold. I got some colloidal silver. Just changing shit up, man, and getting my discipline, right. Because I used to be real disciplined and getting shit done, and then, you lose it. I lost the high level of discipline, so I want to get that back and go to another level. So the best way to do that, I thought, was start with my diet, get real disciplined with that, and it's been working because these 12 days I've been in it, man. Business wise, I've been knocking out all kind of shit I've been saying I'm gonna do the last year and a half. My time management's been on point. Because I'm not standing in line for Ramona's, goddammit.
Yeah, I've been cooking a lot at home during this pandemic, man, just because a lot of stuff I want ain't open. And I don't want to wait in line for the food because now I got to get takeout where I was sitting, and I just don't have the patience. So I saved a hell of a lot of money just sitting at home eating and not eating out all the time.
Yeah, saved a lot of money. Let's go and transition this to the online black media.
Mm-hmm.
We got a lot of power as people. And you see YouTube and Facebook is starting to censor that shit. That's why I look at it for me. My show really started to take off. I've been doing this, you know how long I've been hitting this rock. And it's finally started to get traction on the Facebook side of the game about 3 months ago. And I was starting getting to the point to where videos are getting shared thousands of times. And they started putting me in Facebook jail for no reason. You sneeze, nigga, you in Facebook jail 3 days. Bam.
Right.
They put me in jail for 30 days because I interviewed Dr. Randy Short last week, and he's a political insider, but he says a whole lot of stuff that they don't want people to hear. So they put me in jail when they really started to see my shit take off. And then, so now I'm in Facebook jail for 30 days. I got 18 more days to go. So I did a little side account. You know how people make the little side accounts? Yeah. I made a shadow account, and I was on that shit. And then they went ahead and just froze that motherfucker yesterday. And it goes to show you that when you're talking the real shit, when you're talking what needs to be out there, they don't really like pushing you. They want to silence you because at the end of the day, we as a people, we have major power. And what I want to say about that us having major power. Here's an example of it. In boxing, for people who don't watch boxing, there's a former boxer named Paulie Malignaggi. Paulie Malignaggi he's a person that Adrian Broner fought him a few years ago, and then after Adrian Broner fought him, he said, I beat your ass and I took your girl. So Paulie Malignaggi is a very salty individual. And so he said some shit a couple months ago. He said racism doesn't exist anymore. Paulie Malignaggi said black people, now mind you, he was a Showtime former boxer, but current Showtime boxing analyst. Paulie said black people are just basically making shit up. Racism was a thing a long time ago, but it's no longer a thing. And so what happened was the get back to that was online black media. Shouts out to the Lions Den boxing community. Fred from Barbershop Conversations. We talking about Fred from Barbershop Conversations. 7-8 Sports. They all said, okay, we're gonna boycott. If Showtime keeps Paulie Malignaggi as an announcer, we're not going to buy your pay-per-view. And just last week, Showtime announced a major pay-per-view with the Charlo twins, and Paulie Malignaggi was supposed to be doing the play-by-play. So the black sports online media all got together and say, you know what? If Paulie Malignaggi is the person that's going to be doing the announcing, we're going to tell everybody following us, which is hundreds of thousands of people, that don't buy the pay-per-view. We're going to go stream this shit somewhere. So today, in response, Showtime permanently removes Paulie Malignaggi from their broadcasting team over those comments. This goes to show you why they always fucking with us. This is why they want to silence people like me. This is why they want to silence black people telling the truth, because when we do, we affect change. Malcolm, what you think about what are some thoughts you have about as far as our voice as black people here in America?
Well, with this example, I'm always about the money and the economic side of everything. It affected the dollar, so it got done. Now, if there was no money tied to the situation, it would have happened. So I know anytime you really want to affect change, you got to affect somebody's pocket, or you got to 9 times 10 put hands on them. I mean, that's just the way the world goes. So when black people affect change, when we affect your bottom dollar, we get what we want. Protesting is great, but when we hit them pockets, that's when things really get done. Protesting was cool, but when they did damage to property, things got done.
When they did damage,
it's not about. Some people say, "Well, you're damaging your cosmetic." It's about money. When you go to work and your hours get cut, don't you go say something? Versus when you get more hours, you're gonna go to the office 10 times faster when they take 10 hours from you versus they give you 5. And when you affect my money, I'm gonna say something.
Here's what got me laughing at this sorry ass Paulie Malignaggi.
I don't know who he is, honestly.
He's a boxer, but I don't know. For those of you on YouTube watching, I put a picture of Paulie Malignaggi up, as you see right here. Why is it that the people who try to have the biggest black swag, the ones that try to act the hardest and dress like, have black mannerisms and behavior, why are those always the most racist ones? Look at this picture I have up here. He looking like a fake ass John B. And John B was looking like a fake ass nigga. But we love John B. Salute to John B. We ain't shit talking on John B. But John B was a smooth white boy. But what do we call a smooth white boy? A smooth white boy is somebody that look black.
Right.
And you see here, he got the Steve Harvey jacket on. He got the hat. He got the whole. And even when you hear him talk, if you ever listen to Paulie Malignaggi talk, he sound like whoever that was on that Snoop song, Vato. You know that song Snoop had on the blue carpet treatment? Vato, yeah. You won't believe in what they saw. Like, if you don't shut your corny ass up.
Yeah. That's a cheap ass suit. Look like he got that from Santee Alley.
He got that suit from the Men's Warehouse, 3 for $100.
Hey, I got a pair of drawers with that same pattern.
Paulie Malignaggi, he went on here. He looked like he go to a black barber too. White people don't cut their hair like that. No. And here's the thing: he's Italian. The Italians be the worst ones at this shit because they be like, "Oh, we Italians, the black ones are down in Sicily." No, all you motherfuckers is black. Italians are fixed mulatto class. It's the reason why white people don't fuck with y'all to a certain extent because you got too much nigga in your blood. Look it up. Before there was in Italy, there was a country before it wasn't called, before there was a Rome, that same landmass, that boot that we see was a land called Etruscan civilization. And if you Google me, look up the Etruscans and look up their statues and look up their coins and their sculptures. These motherfuckers got noses like Shona from The Last Dragon. So we got to know that's where you come from, Paulie. And I'm tired of these motherfuckers that want to be black until it's time be the most racist ass ones when it comes to us getting some shit. What are some of your thoughts, Malcolm, about these people that act black but ain't really down with black?
It's always the super light-skinned folks because they play both sides of the fence. He's white when it's convenient, and then he's black when he want to be. So, those cats are always... They are, like him, when it comes to being white, he'll take that hat off, take those glasses off, he'll talk just like a white dude. And then when it comes to that, he comes being racist. So, I don't know, man. You see it a lot. And it's usually, I don't know. Well, then you got Terry Crews. He's one of them, too. And he ain't that light-skinned.
I was about to get into that.
Damn, they come in different colors. So I don't know. But to get there and say that publicly, I just don't. You got to be stupid to say there's no racism there. There's no way you can't prove that. Maybe he doesn't know what racism means. Maybe because I think a lot of times people get what a bigot and a racist. Racism and bigotry are separate. Bigotry is calling me names. Racism is putting a system in place to prevent me from getting ahead. Racism is speed bumps. Bigotry just calling me an asshole trying to get down the street.
Big difference.
And, a lot of times people just say, well, there's no racism. Dude, racism exists right now. The law is racist. The most racist thing in the world is the law because they leave you this much space to interpret. When the police pull you over, the law says he can do what he want. He does what he said he can do under the law, which is racist.
Racism is the denial of resources and the lack of access to opportunity. I'll tell you what's racist, Paulie Malignaggi. The fact that your sorry ass have had a job this long talking boxing when you got your ass whooped in every major fight that you had. Like Paulie Malignaggi, when he boxed, he put on some good. He had like feather fists. He didn't really knock nobody out. But if the other person couldn't fight, he had some entertaining fights because he take a punch and give a punch. But every time Paulie Malignaggi stepped up to fight a real fighter, he got his motherfucking ass whooped. So how the hell are you announcing boxing? How are you to do sitting in the ring next to people while they fighting, giving analysis on a fight when the people you talking about will all whoop your ass? That's racism. The fact that your white ass got a job, and not the niggas, not the multitude of niggas who beat your ass.
It's funny that you mentioned that. I can't think of a lot of black old retired boxers that go into announcing. You would have thought
they go into it, but they don't. Like, for instance, in Showtime, Antonio Tarver had that job at Showtime before Paulie Malignaggi got it. Antonio Tarver earned it because he actually beat Roy Jones. He actually beat somebody. So it's okay to hear him talk because, okay, I'm listening to somebody that can whoop somebody's ass. They let Antonio Tarver go for this motherfucker who got his ass beat every time he fought a nigga. Yeah. That's racism.
But
I want to tie it in before we go to Terry Crews about just the power of black media and black consciousness and black thought. The white supremacists are never going to acknowledge that we won. They're not going to come out and say, okay, black people, you won this round. We'll get you next time. They're not going to do that. They're not going to acknowledge, going back to this article right here. They're saying he's fired for the comments that were made. But this is the thing. Like going back to what you're saying about money. There had been a push to get Paulie Malignaggi fired for about 2 or 3 months now from Showtime. It wasn't until this pay-per-view that Showtime has scheduled coming up. And they say right here that they have a pay-per-view coming up next month. And it was when the black media online said, we're not buying your shit. That's when everything changed. And they're not going, in this article, they're not going to mention the black media being the people behind that. They're just going to say, okay, Showtime came to Jesus and then they're not going to let him fight or let him announce a fight. They're not going to give us that kind of credit. This is where we as a people got to know where the credit lies and take a bow. Because we spoke up with our dollars and we won. See, I say shit all the time, black people, when we fight, we win. We don't lose fights. It's just that most of the time we don't fight. And that's the problem. But you mentioned it. Terry Crews. Terry Crews has been kind of a reoccurring theme on his show lately, man. Because he be saying so much outlandish bullshit.
I think he does it for attention at this point, man.
You do? Tell me what you think. Go ahead.
I think he does it for attention, but he's hired by white folks, and he'll be the first to go. So if he do get out of pocket and he piss off the wrong people, black people will have you removed.
Let me put up the tweet that's in question. Earlier this week, Terry Crews gets on his Twitter and he gives an acronym for the word coon because he sees himself getting called this every 3 seconds on Twitter. Coon, conquer our own negative, or conquer our own negativity. Conquer our own negativity. So, how
long did it take you to come up with that? You must have been bored.
That's
who was that coon like that? Who looked at the word coon and comes up with that?
Conquering our own. Terry Crews, you still negative than a motherfucker, dog. Because when is the last time you seen Terry Crews say something positive about black society?
Yeah.
Terry Crews can't even put together 2 words to say positive about his own father. Terry Crews is somebody who has more negative things to say about black people than the man that touched his balls in front of his wife. Is he the person that has the authority to come up with any acronym about negativity?
I would say no.
Terry Crews, I just want to say this. I'm not going to spend too much time on you because you dumb than a motherfucker. And Terry Crews is somebody who, I'm going to say this to the people who always want to invite people to the barbecue. The list is closed. Yeah, we trading Terry in the racial draft. We getting rid of Terry Crews, but we ain't putting nobody in his place. It's just we're better off. We don't need a fill-in. We don't need the coolest white person that hit the newest black dance that you niggas love celebrating. We don't need that.
We're gonna get somebody off the bench. We got people.
We got people on the bench.
We'll get somebody off the bench.
Who can we sub back in that we subbed off the bench that we put on the bench a while ago? Who can we bring? I think we can bring Will Smith back in. You think Will's had enough?
Hey, that man. I'll say this: with that amount of money, and to come out and do that, that's a different man. I got that kind of money. You don't hear from me.
Yeah,
I'm on the hill, but minding my business until this blow up. I'm not coming out to do nothing. You know how much money I got? No, I don't have to work no more.
Yeah, we had to sit Will Smith on the bench for a little bit. He was never off the team, but he's on the bench for a little bit. Will, you back in the game because Terry Crews is buck broken. He's done. He's done.
Yeah.
The NBA is back.
And LeBron was struggling at halftime.
Y'all know me. I am a basketball guru. Let me pat myself on the back for that. I used to have my show Sports and Things until, I stopped doing sports. The reason why I stopped talking sports is because, for the most part, black society, we don't know, black men especially, we don't know how to handle sports yet. It's like when sports is around, everything goes awry. LeBron James becomes the next coming of Jesus, and you can't tell niggas shit about life when sports is around. These last few months we've had with our sports, we've seen black society make some of the biggest leaps it's made since the 60s. All without a single vote. Black is back in the lexicon. You have governments, states, and local governments and national politicians talking about reparations again. Even though everything they propose so far is bullshit. A year ago, they'd be like, "Repar what?" So, what the young folks did, getting back out in the streets with no sports and protesting and handling shit, is gotten black society back on track. Now we got basketball back. What do you think? Well, how do you think this is going to turn out for us, Malcolm? Do you think black people going to be able to maintain our focus while sports is back? or do you see this being a distraction?
I think black people are going to maintain the focus because we can't go to the game, so you can only sit at home on TV and watch it. I was watching it myself. It's not the same experience. I think at this point you got to really love the sport because people just tune in because it's a big game. Most people won't tune in till the playoffs get started. So I think we would stay focused, but the people who are going to stay focused were already focused. So basketball is just something I tune into, but just like me, if I got something to do, something more important, I don't watch sports that day. I used to be one of the people that love sports, but I can have a conversation 2 hours about LeBron James, but it don't put no money in my pocket, it doesn't advance me, my people, or nothing. And that's a lot of knowledge to have that doesn't do anything for me. Everybody's an analyst, but you don't get a check for it. So I'm not going to waste my time talking 3 hours about it, but I think, like I said, we've had a lot of strides without sports. But I know you talk about this a lot. Athletes aren't, they're good to speak out, but if you got to get into politics to really laws. You want to pass laws. If I got money, I got to either, if I'm an athlete, if I'm not going into politics, I'm paying money to a politician to get what I need done. So, athletes have power, but I think they're more powerful cutting a check to a politician saying, hey, this is what we want done. And you don't even have to go on federal level. You go to your local, you have more power in the city of LA, the United States, because you can get to your local city politician. And, that's what I tell people about, make sure you start locally. Because if you're an athlete in your city, you can have more effect in your city than nationwide. Because I can get buddy with the mayor before I can get with the president.
That's real talk. King Harvey said it in the chat room, and I think we all kind of on the same. I think that black people, we kind of learned our lesson. I don't think it'll be the distraction that it used to be. I think those who want to be distracted will go into it, fall into it. But those aren't your soldiers anyway who going to be on the front lines dealing with what we got to deal with anyway. We always got to remember that it's never everybody. All you need is a critical mass. You don't need everybody. You need enough. Critical mass, according to science, is about 10% of the population. Most of the population are followers anyway. So for those who need the distraction of basketball, they have it. Me personally, I'm a basketball savant. I'm really into this shit. I don't need the whole I don't need the crowd to be there. I'm the kind of person that I go to the Drew League games on weekends. You know me. My background is coach basketball. I done got players to the NBA. I done got players to Division 1, 2, and 3 college from coaching AAU basketball. I can bring on professional coaches right now who used to call me when they had questions about what was going on with their system. They need to figure some things out. I'm Mr. Basketball, man, but let me tell you this. I don't give a fuck about this season starting back. I was there when Kobe won the Lakers' 5th championship. I was at Staples Center, Game 7 of the NBA Finals. I've seen basketball. I've been to at least a third of the NBA arenas. This is how much of a basketball fan I used to be. I flew to Cleveland in the middle of December to watch LeBron James return to Cleveland for the first time as a member of the Miami Heat. I had 7th row seats for that game. That's how much I'm into this game. But we as a people, we got some bigger fish to fry right now, man. And my Lakers have a chance to win the championship, and I don't give up. I'm looking. As a matter of fact, I'm searching. And I can't find a fuck to give. I think that we as a people are going to be all right. They trying to send this distraction back out there to us. But like you said, the majority of the fans are the casual fans and not the hardcore fan like me. They watch a few of them games with no crowd. They're going to be like, man, fuck this shit. I ain't watching that. And those who are really about the business of moving black society forward may catch a game. I'm not saying I won't watch. I'm pretty sure I will catch a game or two. You know what I mean? But it's not going to stop me from moving forward. The cat's out the bag. We as black people get shit done when we ain't distracted, and we getting shit done right now. And I don't give a fuck what they do. They ain't gonna put us back in.
And you can't go out, because like tonight, usually I would go out and watch the game at a restaurant or something, go have a drink. You can't do that. So that whole aspect, or usually I would go drive and give me some money because I know people would be out. So that aspect of that is not there. So the whole casual fan, their experience is ruined. Going after work, go to the bar, watch a game. You don't even know basketball like that. You just like to be around the social aspect of what sports bring. Like, I'm a football junkie. I'll go watch football, junior college football. Don't matter. I love football. But, that's what we love in Florida. But like I said, it doesn't matter. I don't care if the crowd's there or not. I'm just going to watch. I watch spring football games because I like to play. Like I said, I like the mechanics of the game.
And and for those, you're right about that. I like football. I stopped watching a few years ago. I was never I like football, but basketball and boxing my thing. I'm a basketball and boxing. I watch basketball and boxing all day. I don't watch the WNBA though. Which brings it to another point. There was a WNBA player the other day that got mad at Andre Iguodala because he called her by her number. And now you got all these people jumping up saying, "Oh, it's disrespectful." God damn it. Since when did it start being disrespectful to call an athlete by their number?
What's it there for? What how do you identify that person? Isn't a number therefore an identifier?
And that's my thing. The WNBA is so trash, women don't watch it.
They make cool money.
They look like they're playing underwater because it goes so slow. The highlights of layups, it takes forever for them to get a jump shot off. Don't nobody watch that trash ass league, man. So that's another story. But like, going back to the NBA, man. Dudes, for the ones who do go back to watching basketball, it don't matter who you think the best player is. Like, LeBron James ain't gonna come to your house and give you a sticker and put it on your a 5-star. Put it on your. LeBron James is not gonna give your business a 5-star Yelp review, let alone come and tell your ass thank you for being the best fan ever. So all that arguing and fighting over who the best and Jordan, leave that shit in early 2020. Kobe died and sacrificed his life for that. God, Kobe, rest in peace to the god of basketball, Kobe Bryant. He sacrificed his life so we ain't got to be all up into that shit no more. Let's stop it. Go ahead, Malcolm.
I'll say sports is, for me, it's a point of conversation topic. So we can start off talking about the Lakers, but we can move on into something else. Sports is something real. I got a job off talking sports. I got my a job because the guy really loved the Lakers. And we just talked basketball through the interview. We didn't talk any accounting.
I've had that.
But I got passed through. I got a call. So, hey, we really like you next. We didn't talk. That man didn't know what the fuck I can do. We talked basketball. But that got me in the job. So if you're going to talk sports with somebody that can do something for you. If you're going to talk sports at the bar, make sure you mix in some business with it as well. Sports is common. You can go talk to anybody about sports. But without sports, sometimes you can't get in that conversation to talk about what you want to talk about. I can start off with sports, then lead on to my business. But we shouldn't have a whole hour conversation on LeBron, because LeBron runs a business too. LeBron ain't all about basketball. LeBron got business too. So don't think LeBron about basketball. You got Blaze Pizza. LeBron has the Nike deal. That ain't basketball. That's business. So no athletes all basketball. You shouldn't be neither.
Real talk. And that's what I mean about as far as being responsible when we talk basketball. One thing I noticed, mind you, listen to Hotep Ish, Intelligent Ish Talk. You got my guest here, co-host, Mr. Malcolm Hall. Donate to the Cash App, Dwannbrown. Donate to the Cash App. We got a lot of shit going on. Donate to Malcolm. You got a Cash App? What's your Cash App?
My Cash App is Black Kung Fu. BlackCungfu.
That's what's up. That's Black Kung Fu. Look it up. But anyway, that's what I want to talk about as far as like sports go. It's like watch it, but watch it with responsibility. Know that those athletes, they're just athletes, and it's entertainment. It's something. It's something to do when it ain't shit else that you got to do. Your day's done. You finish working. You need to tune out. Watch all the sports you can watch. You know what I mean? But be about the business of black empowerment when you're done watching that sport. I'll tell you, people always ask me, Dwan, how do you know so much? How do you memorize so many facts and history? A lot of that's gift, but I recognize the gift through sports. I remember, because I can tell you, even now, my wife used to laugh at me, because I can tell you what year something happened based on who won the NBA championship that year. That's our anything that happened before 2012, I can tell you, I'll be like, okay, yeah, that happened. Oh, yeah, and that was the year that the Philadelphia Sixers won in 1983, and that's when they went 13-1, 12-1 in the playoffs, 4-4-4. They had Moses Malone, and 83 was the year. I was 2 years old, is what I'm trying to say. I was able to draw shit up from time. I was able to say, okay, this happened in 1976 before I was born, because 76 was the year Gar Hurd hit that shot. That's how much I was into basketball. You know what I mean? And I realized, okay, if I can remember all these stats, why can't I use that same skill to remember information and facts about my people? Why can't I use that same skill to teach? I used to coach basketball and teach all this. Why can't I use these same skills to uplift and to uplift the next generation of black children? When I used to coach basketball, and I got that player I had to the NBA, and I saw how much work it took to not only get to the NBA, to stay in the NBA, that changed my whole perspective. Because I used to coach a bench warmer. This nigga couldn't get in the game if the two starting centers were missing. They'd be like, okay, we're going to play the point guard at center. That's how bad this nigga was. But in order to be that bad and still be in the NBA, he had to work out twice, 3 times a day. Nigga had to put in at least 6 hours a day of basketball in the off season. And that's the only average 2 minutes a game. The nigga starting like Kobe are putting in 8, 9, 10 hours a day in the off season. And when I used to coach basketball, when I used to tell my kids, okay, if you wanted a reliable jump shot's going to be at least, you got to make at least 500 jump shots a day. Not take. You got to make at least 500 jump shots a day. So if you're making that many jump shots a day on top of workout, on top of your school studies, you're talking about 6 hours a day of your time as a youth. Imagine as a youth if you dedicate that same amount of time to an engineering book, to science, to plumbing, to electric, whatever it is you do. You probably gonna make more money over a lifetime than you would in the NBA. Because if you dedicate that much time to any kind of craft, you gonna be the best at it. That means you gonna be the motherfucker that can charge whatever you want to charge.
And 2, you can put in that much time as an NBA athlete, but that 6 hours, once your NBA career is done, what are you going to do with that 6 hours every day? Because you got to figure out what you're going to do with that time. Because, I just been lucky. Once I got done with sports, I had comedy. So, that same amount of time I was putting into football, different weights, I was putting in trying to get in the club to get better at comedy. So I always have somewhere to sink my time, like literally. But some people don't. And once you get on the path of doing something so long, that's like athletes. When it's done, like, what do I do now? You still have to do something 6 hours a day. It's just not basketball no more. And you may not even get to the NBA. This may happen to you after high school. Put in all that work, get to college. Damn. College is a business now. You got to make money. Scholarships are 1-year contracts. You don't get there 4 years. It's not a sports contract. We're signing you 1 year at a time. You got to produce.
You injure yourself, you don't get no second year.
And no insurance. Who going to pay for you? They're not paying for you long term.
So
nerve damage,
they're
not paying for that.
This is what I used to tell my athletes. Because first of all, it's a 99.9% chance you ain't going to make it. But, sometimes you don't want to, especially when they're kids, you don't want to just come out and burst their bubble right away. So I would address my young athletes as if they did make it. Okay, let's say you do make the NBA. Let's say most people make it, they're not gonna make it past 2 years. Let's say you one of that rare that make it and play 10 years. You play 10 years in the NBA. Now you're done. You're 33 years old. How are you going to make money the rest of your life? You're not going to be able to survive off of the money you made between 20 and 33 forever. Because first of all, while you were making that money, they never give you that money in one lump sum. They give it to you in paychecks every 2 weeks. That's taxed. So no, you don't get $5 million. You get 30. You get a paycheck after taxes, about 25 grand every 2 weeks. You paid your mama, so everything you get has to be mortgaged.
Because you don't tax again when you buy shit.
They make you. They set you up to where you got to mortgage everything. You know, you can't. You're not gonna. You don't have. You don't ever accumulate enough money to buy that house cash.
And they broke that down. God broke that down, dude. That was so cold. When I heard that, I was like, damn, you really can't get ahead. That's very hard. So now, even as an NBA player, your credit got to be decent to get that house. Or they're going to make you're going to have to put up so much collateral. You're going to, just like when you know how it goes, when you get drafted, who putting up the money for you? Somebody got to put up the money for you to get in the league. You are in debt when you go into the league. I'm
glad you brought that up because you are in debt, because after you leave college, you go into what's called summer transition. And summer transition, because no matter where you are, it's only like a few people, less than a handful of players who know what they're going to get, that they're a top draft. If you're a lottery pick, a top 3 player, you kind of know where you're going to go. And that's not even every year. Some years it's just up in the air to where you don't even know who the top 3 going to be. But for the most part, you played your years in college. Now, after college, you got to go through summer transition. You got to go through workouts. Every team, you have to go to their private workout. You got to get plane tickets to those workouts. You got to get hotels when you're there. And then, just say you do get drafted. Where you going to live? You can't go back and live in your dorm from June to the start of the NBA season. You got to pay rent. You got to keep your workout schedule going. And if you're going to be any good, like I said, you're working out at least 6 hours a day. You got to pay your private coach. You got to pay your private trainer. You got to pay your nutritionist. You got to pay your health. All this money's coming out in between your last year in college and your first NBA game. Who's paying for that? Your agency generally. Your agency's paying for that. They're giving you what's called an advance.
Is it?
You know, it's an advance, right? Advance means your black ass got to pay this shit back.
No, it's a payback because it's an advance, but in reality, it sounds good. In theory, I'm giving you money up front. I'm giving you $100, but in theory, I owe you $13. I owe you $1,300 when I get it back because of all the taxes and fees. So you're sitting up there thinking, "Dang, I got $1,000." No, you don't. You owe $1,500. Because you're going to owe more than they gave you. I guarantee it. They're adding fees. They're not giving you $5,000 flat, and you're going to give them $5,000 back. That's bad business. I got to make some money off of you, even though you're my client.
And that's how it works in the NBA. They're set up to where, and in the old days in the 90s, you had 5 players on the team can get a 10-figure deal. In today's NBA, it's only going to be, I said 10-figure, 8-figure deal. In today's NBA, it's only going to be your top 2 players that can get that 8-figure deal. Everybody else is going to be getting, the other 12 players on the team, 10 players are going to be getting somewhere around league minimum. The way they tiered after the last lockout, the way contracts are paid out, say you're a really good role player, you play 12 years in the NBA. Well, because the way the NBA restructured their deals, unless you were Steph Curry, he'll get $250 million. But his supporting teammates, the most you're going to get. Look at JaVale McGee. JaVale McGee, if this was in the 90s, would probably have about a $70 million deal. But he had to sign for what? I think it was like a $5 million deal. Because of the way these contracts are tiered, he can't get all the money. And so at a $5 million deal, you're getting paid every 2 weeks. You don't make enough money to ever retire on. So you're going to have that hustle. You're going to have that income. So it's best as a people that we develop these things young. We develop our crafts, our skills, all these things. Because even if you do make the NBA and play 12 years, you still going to have to feed yourself for the next 60 years you living when you done.
Right. And you got to emphasize, I think, too, you got to emphasize all teams have general managers. There is the business of sports. I really wish they would teach this kids in school. There's sports and the business of sports. I think more kids should learn the business of sports because you might realize 10th grade, okay, you know what? I don't think this is going to work out for me. Transition to the business of sports. Now, because, you know, LeBron was, you know, what LeBron has is rare. To have friends who want to do the work, not only do I have the resources, do you want to do the work? He couldn't make them guys go to school. But to have some people around you, you know, build your own team. If you know you're going to go make it, build your own team. You know somebody else is going to make it. Get them trained up. School them. Like, hey, listen, this is what we got to do. Because it goes by fast. 18, you're in the league in about 3 years. That's fast. That's freshman year to 11th grade. You're in there. That goes quick. How many summers you get in college? 3. You get 3 summers, and it's over. And if you don't have it figured out, like sometimes these kids don't have parents who are financially savvy to help them. So, and you don't have time to get the resources because you're busy trying to figure it out to make sure you're good enough to get in. So you got to have somebody who learns it or you got to know the game on your own. Because now at this time, if you're that good in sports, you should be doing the research on your own. Or you can get taken advantage of.
You should be doing the research on your own. And that's what anything you do. Anything you do in life, learn the business of it.
100%.
I had an interview that I'm going to drop it one day. This past Tuesday with a blues legend, Bobby Rush, 86 years old, still performing. Well, outside of COVID, he goes back. He got into music in 1951 with the same year. He knew Ike Turner. The same year Ike Turner released Rocket 88, the first rock and roll album. He knew Muddy Waters. He was talking about us about Bo Diddley, B.B. King, Etta James. He'd been in the business since then. He said something very interesting in an interview. He said that when he was at Chess Records, he was a session musician, and Bo Diddley was the main guy at Chess Records at the time. And Muddy Waters was there too. And it was time for him to get his contract with Chess Records. And the unions, back then, it was a white, and when it came to musicians union, you had white union and you had black union. The unions merged, and he came in and said, hey, the unions emerged. So, because he said the black union didn't do shit for the black people. You know, that's why he was happy they merged, because the white union did a lot for the white artists, but nothing for the black union to do shit for the black artists. So he said, wow, I'm glad that the unions merged. And the union rep, one of the people at Chess Records said, hey, how did you know the unions merged? He said, I read it. And they said, oh, this nigga can read. And they didn't offer him a contract. He didn't get his first big hit till almost 20 years, till about 15 years later, 1971. He didn't get his contract because they knew he can read. But he didn't get the quick notoriety. His names aren't up there with the Bo Diddley. See, Bo Diddley's name is etched in stone forever. But Bo Diddley didn't get paid a goddamn thing while he was living. Everybody plays the Bo Diddley backbeat to this day. Anytime you hear a don't, that's the Bo Diddley backbeat. Bo Diddley's creation that he never got paid off because he didn't know the business. Mr. Bobby Rush didn't get the quick fame notoriety that Bo Diddley got, but he's in his 80s and he's good because he knew the business. He's 86 years old and did the Dolomite movie Eddie Murphy just did last year. Still relevant because he knew the business. Whatever it is you do, whether you're a plumber, electrician, engineer, musician, artist, learn the business of what you do. Basketball people included. And I think that's the overall lesson for the people out there that want to be athletes. Learn the business of it. Because you might find in the positions that aren't the player, they actually get paid more and they got longer money. Learn that shit and watch you do it better than they do. What are some of your last thoughts, Malcolm? Go ahead.
Yeah, like you said, learn the business because most of your money is if you look at most top athletes, if you really break down their expenses, most of them make money outside, more money outside of sports than they do sports. It just makes sense. These big corporations, they run 365 days a year. The NBA does not. So even at the NBA, technically the NBA is a part-time job because you can't work it all year. You can't really, you have to make enough money in X months to survive off the rest. So you're technically, if I'm not employed every day, in that part-time? So you got to go, I mean, it's a very, very high-paying part-time job, but it is a part-time job. So therefore, if I don't have nothing to supplement my income, how are you around this many rich people and you don't have no relationship? You should be making money off of your relationship. I need to be in the NBA about 2 years. Who cares how many points I made, how many relationships that I made? Because there's a lot of, who is it? Jerry Stackhouse makes money. A lot of these NBA players make a ton of money, but they don't really talk about it. ESPN is not going back to do a documentary on NBA players making money outside of basketball. That's not going to happen. It would be a great documentary, but it's just not going to happen. And there's so many. Magic Johnson. Dude, talk about his business. Forget his numbers. Forget him as an NBA player. Magic Johnson is a Hall of Fame businessman. 100%.
Real talk.
You cannot deny that. But they don't, every time you talk about Magic, it's all basketball. They really need to talk about that man's business because he's really a genius.
He is. J Bag said it in the chat room. They'll never teach us the business of sport because the whole objective is to keep the core on the plantation as slaves. You're right. They're never going to teach this shit. It's up to us to teach it. And that circle. Go ahead.
And we make enough money. Like you got. Like let me ask you this: basketball between 1970 and 2020 could not, like let's say a pool of players could not have all put in money to buy a team at this point if a team came for sale. If we just say, hey, listen, we're going to do this as a group. One of us can't do it. So everybody, when we come in every year, we're going to put in money to a bucket. In 30 years, all this money is going to create enough interest. We can come in and buy a team collectively as a group. Because you don't have to own it. These people that own these teams, that's old white money. They own it by themselves. But you can still get a team as a group. You don't have to go in by yourself.
It's something that I heard Grant Hill say. His whole career, he never heard a financial conversation in the locker room. These cats is kids, man. And that's what I tell people all the time. You shouldn't be having your kids look up to athletes because they kids. They kids here.
They're 20-something. They really are children. But
up here, they 12.
Right.
They've been taught to run, jump, and dunk, and never develop this. They figured this part out about 7 or 8 years into their career if they're lucky and last that long. But by then, they've passed all their highest earning money-making potential. And they hope if they get another contract, it ain't going to be for the amount the last contract was. So we want to make sure we frame that. They're not going to teach it, but it's up to us to teach it. That's why Hotep Ish is here. That's why I'm here. I'm here to teach it. I do webinars. I do this stuff. Because, yeah, you're right, Joe Fox in the chat room. Ice Cube does have a league. The 3-on-3 league. There's no league this year, but Ice Cube has one. So there are people, a lot of us, we do get it. And more people are catching up and getting it along. But I just want us to always remember that we have the power. As we saw in our first, what we talked about earlier, Showtime Sports firing Paulie Malignaggi over racist tweets when black people decide to flex our muscles. We have the power. We've always had the power. We always will have the power. We just got to learn how to use it and cultivate it and get better at using our power. Tell them where they can find you, Malcolm, before we close this out.
You can find me at cheapnotbroke.com, Cheap Not Broke on all platforms. And you can also learn about saving money. I, too, have webinars every week, whether that's credit education, learning how to budget, or I just put out tips all week on credit. You can find me at www.stressmoneyless.com.
Stressmoneyless.com. And for me, I have a series of webinars coming. Facebook got me all locked down, so thank you, Periscope, Twitter, YouTube for holding us down today. Facebook got all my accounts in jail because I talk that real shit. But anyway, add my group on Meetup. Look me up on meetup.com. I have a group. Oh, what's the name of that group? Hold on, let me get the name of my meetup group. I'll be on Eventbrite pretty soon. But basically, I have a program where I'm giving tips and tricks to raising your black children in a racist society. I have 25 years working with children here in LA, in Southern California, working in the school systems. And basically, at the end of the day, I speak teen. I know how to speak teenagers. A lot of parents are having issues communicating with their teen children during this COVID crisis. I am here to help you communicate with your teen child or any age child. The name of my group in Meetup is Communicating Societal Problems with Black Children. Look up that group. I'm the only member for right now. This is my first time announcing it. I hadn't been able to say anything on Facebook because I'm locked out. So join that meetup. We're going to have discussions. I want black parents to all coming together and let's talk to each other. I'm not a parent, but I worked for kids forever. Let me moderate. Let's have these discussions. The hard conversations. How do you talk racism with your children? How do you address bigotry? How do you talk about what's going on in school? Do you need resources, homeschooling, tutors? My program is about all that. I got the resources for you, and we got the discussions that you need to raise your black child in this racist society. So join the meetup group. Go to breakthroughas.org. That's my website. Go to breakthroughas.org, and that's where everything is going to be. Breakthroughas.org, and that's where everything is going to be. Me and Malcolm, we gotta do some shit together, Malcolm, between your financial shit and my working with the kids shit. We gotta do something together.
I was just gonna chime in and tell you. So next month, I'm just finishing up. I have prior to COVID, I was going to schools with my program, Making Money Fun. So what I was teaching kids was about the basics of banking, teaching you about banking terms, what a deposit is, what a withdrawal is, because basically, with this program, you should be able to give your kid $100. They can walk in the bank and walk out and know exactly what they're doing. Because you have to learn these things. You're going to have to function in society financially. Kids are making money on Madden right now. Your kid might have $300. He can go buy some stock with that. But if they don't know these things, then what do they do? Because, sometimes parents don't really have the conversation with their kids about money. So Making Money Fun, my program will be available in about a week. I'm just finishing the final touches. It's going to be parents and kids, so it's going to be a webinar from home. So parents, get on with your children. And we can learn how to take care of money because, like I said, money is a lifelong process. Until the day you die, you're going to be worrying about money.
And remember that. And remember also to go to hotepish.com for your T-shirts. We got I'm going to show y'all some of the T-shirts. This is my new T-shirt we got right here. Fuller, Clark, Welsing, Van Sertima, and Ben Yakinen. Shouts out to all the scholars that have woken me up, and they'll wake you up too when you learn to get into them. Get your T-shirt at hotepish.com. You see, I'm wearing it right now, looking nice and fly and beautiful because I designed it. Get your T-shirts. Acknowledge the people who brought us here. Acknowledge our legends. Acknowledge the people who enlightened us. Buy a T-shirt at hotepish.com. Remember this. There are no perfect messengers. Only perfect messages for those who are willing to pick up game. Thank you guys for tuning in. Subscribe, share the video, like the video, hit the notification bell so you know when we live on YouTube. Share this shit on Facebook. Facebook locked me out. So take this video from YouTube and put it on your Facebook page so people on Facebook can hear my big ass mouth because Facebook is doing their best to silence it. My name is Dwannbrown. Thank you again, Malcolm Hall. We out.